Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. I'm back. Hey everyone, welcome back. We are daily dishing it on this lovely Tuesday afternoon, and I hope you're all doing well. Jocelyn! So good to have you here. What a wedding it was. Boy, it was a beautiful wedding. Leah looked glorious. Her groom, of course, was just shining. I love a good wedding. Don't you love a good wedding? I do. I cried my eyes out when they did their vows, the whole bit. So, I got to be sappy and enjoy that whole thing. Hey, Doris, I'm so glad you're here. So it was a really great time. And one of the things about travel, it makes you so grateful to be home. Am I right? The thing that I loved about, just when we were flying home, I texted the place where Lincoln stayed because he was being boarded, of course. Alice and Margot, hello. And I'll tell you what, she said, well, I can bring him by tonight. And I was like, yes, bring home my doggy. So Lincoln was excited to be home. We're excited to be home. There's nothing like sleeping in your own bed. Am I right? Especially ours. We have a really nice bed. We have the organics mattress that I always talk about. So I would strongly suggest you check it out because it's pretty bomb. Tanya, hello. Yay. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're live. You're here live too, because today we're going to be talking about some really good things. Listen, we are getting into the whole deal with the rising tide. That's coming up, y'all. We start. I don't know when we start. When do we start? I think we start. Don't we start tonight? I think so. Jenny will let us know. But anyway, yeah, we are starting, and I'm really excited. It's 3 weeks of intenseness, where we set goals and really go for it. If you're not familiar, you need to get a journal, but just check it out. It starts next Tuesday. I thought so. I was all confused about everything. So it starts next Tuesday. You have time, in other words, to become a part of the rising tide. And this is 3 weeks of intense, get down on it, get your goals set using the system that's to Take Back Your Life journal. And boy, oh boy, we're going to have a good time. Let me just tell you that. Go to savingdinner.com/rising tide and check it out. Okay. There's options there for you to get your journal and to do everything, because it is going to be something else. That's all I have to say. So I have that to tell you about, and pretty much that's it. That's all I have on my menu for today, except, of course, today's show. So, I'm going to give you the quote here in just a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring TikTok on. They've probably missed me too. Do you think they missed me over there? I hope so. Hello, TikTok. Bring it. Here we go. I don't like the angle of this thing, though. TikTok makes me look like I am very large chested. And if you've met me, you know I'm not. So hello, TikTok. Welcome. And of course to YouTube and Facebook. We are doing our Daily Dish show, living our lives in full bloom. And this is the way we do it. Every single day we have to take a look at what's going on and make an assessment. Have you noticed that when you are in the weeds with your own life and taking a look at what's going on, you start to notice, hey, something's up here. And I want to talk about that because I think that is one of the biggest needle movers in anyone's life, is noticing your own life and then doing something about it. Because oftentimes we gloss over the things that are easy and we look at that as, a big victory, and we skirt around the stuff that's hard. I do. I'm here to admit it, but we're going to talk about all of that and how that can work. Jordan Belfort said, get this quote, y'all, get it. I needed this for this week. I don't know about you. The only thing standing between you and your goal is the BS story you keep telling yourself as to why you can't achieve it. Anyone? Did anybody get that knocked up their head like a cosmic 2x4? For me, it was that quote just, it hit me. Because I started to, we have these conversations in our heads and these rationalizations on why we can't do this, why this isn't working or whatever. It's time to end that. And it's time to go to this place of ending the BS story that we're telling ourselves and be the woman that we want to be. Step up to the plate. Okay. It's going to involve a little bit of discomfort. Let me just put it to you that way. I see Juanita and Corliss in the house. Hello. Hello, precious. It's nice to have you here. And Debbie, and to everyone over here. Hey, Amber Tracy Lou is over here on TikTok. So glad to have you here. So here's that quote. It's Jordan Belfort. I'm going to say it again because it is such a cosmic 2x4. The only thing standing between you and your goal is the BS story you keep telling yourself as to why you can't achieve it. And pinkies up if you have been telling some BS stories. I know I have. I do it. Let's stop. It's time to step up. It's time to be the vibrant woman we always wanted to be. It's time to live our lives in full bloom. Full bloom. Hey, Anne, you ready to do that? Let's go. Okay, discomfort is what we're going to talk about today. You knew that was coming, right? Discomfort, because discomfort, if you look in the dictionary, it's defined as slight pain. Slight pain. And the second definition, making someone, and I say that's you, feel uneasy, anxious, or even a little embarrassed. That's what discomfort is. But get this, there's some Yale research. Guess what they found? They found we only learn when we're uncomfortable. I repeat, we only learn when we're uncomfortable. Do you know why? We only learn when there's a little bit of uncertainty involved because that's the area of the brain that is stimulated to learn. And you know this. We all know this about our amygdalas. Anyone here have an amygdala that just says, oh no, don't do it. Ah! And then when we start to do this thing that we're uncomfortable doing that feels risky and our amygdala is screaming that it's dangerous, and we find ourselves in the place where we're getting rewarded for that. Isn't that funny? Such an end of the spectrum kind of a thing from one here to here. But we can change all of it, and that changes all of us. That's the whole deal. It's huge. And I'm going to tell you what, you have experienced this. I promise you've experienced this. Anybody ever take dance lessons, music lessons, cheerleading in high school? How about on-the-job training, right? Your first day aren't you nervous? First day of a new school, aren't you nervous? Uncomfortable, maybe? When you're in kindergarten, do you remember having to learn how to play nice, having to learn how to stand in line, having to learn how to do anything? I was a nervous wreck in kindergarten. I don't know about y'all, but I was. All the things that we had, it was hard. Even how to use a fork and a knife. I remember being corrected all the time at the table with my mom. But here's the thing. When we have all experienced this discomfort, we moved out of discomfort into comfort and it became second nature. That's how it is when we learn things. Discomfort is temporary. It is. Discomfort is just something that we have to tolerate in order to get to the other side, in order to up-level anything that we want in our lives. That's how this whole thing works. Because that's where the change is. It happens in the discomfort. Have you noticed that? I have. It requires learning something unfamiliar, uncertain, strange even, but certainly something that you've maybe perhaps never done or never taken on seriously. You could apply this to so many different things in our lives. I mean, from A to Z, runs the gamut. So we can embrace change or we can run from it. No, those are our two options. But the bottom line is either way, embrace it or run, you're inviting discomfort in. You're going to be discomfort from either one. And you remember we have two different regrets, right? We have two different regrets. The regret of not doing it, or the regret of doing something. We know that. So how do we accept something when no one wakes up every morning and says, hey, I want to get up and start my day with some discomfort? Anyone? I mean, do you ever say that? Do you ever say, I want to be uncomfortable? I don't. We all look for comfort. This is why we are addicted to all of the things. This is why we want that. I mean, we want it all, don't we? We want to have our comfort zones and keep them. And I say that our comfort zones are a trap. We want to have we want everything in a row. We don't want to be inconvenienced. Inconvenience is discomfort as well. So how do we do this? How do we say, okay, I want to change a few things in my life. I know it's going to be uncomfortable. Now, how do I get along with it so that I don't revert back to the old stuff? And this is what I have for you, 4 big things. Number 1 is start with willingness. We always have to start with willingness. If we could just open our hearts just that much to just a little bit of willingness. That willingness is saying, yes, you know what? I'm willing. I'm willing to try something that's new. I'm willing to be a little uncomfortable. I'm willing to look at what's going on to mitigate all of this comfort that's going on in my life. You heard me. Because we go from one numbing activity to the other. Some of us use food for that. Some of us use Netflix or coffee or wine. Some of us are just hooked endlessly on something, gambling even. It's amazing how we get hooked on things that numb us up so we don't have to face things. Keeps us in the place of being comfortable all the time, although that comfort could be killing you. So if we understand, look, I'm just going to be willing. That's all. I'm just going to open my heart and make a decision to be willing. It's amazing what happens next. And what happens next is you start to then analyze what's going on here on a daily basis. What's in my life? What's important? Am I falling back into this old comfort zone garbage, or am I going forward? Do you do an analysis, and you do it very unemotionally? And I say this because we need to hold our emotions and plug them in when they're going to do us a lot of good. I'll share with you about this. Is one of the most powerful things I believe that you can learn about yourself. And that is that emotion moves the ball down the field, and it can move it to your advantage or to the other team's advantage. It depends. So I say use your emotions wisely. And when you're doing an analysis, this is not the time for beating yourself up and saying you're worthless and you can't do it and this, that, and the other thing. This isn't a time to say, where's my time going? Where's my energy going? What am I thinking about? How's my work going? Is it helping me to build that bridge? You know what the bridge is? We all have a life where you're starting here and you want to get here. We've got a bridge to build and fill that gap. That's how you get there. It's not that you can't get there. It's that we haven't started building yet. And we build one brick at a time by doing one good deed at a time for ourselves. And when we're doing this assessment is just basically telling the truth of what is, without all the emotional garbage, because that's the thing that keeps us out. That's the thing that we kick out. You know what I'm saying? So for example, if we start saying, oh, I just can't, it's just awful, and I'm just a loser, no, it's never going to work, then we don't go through all the way with the analysis. That's why I'm saying, get all that garbage out of there and just say that, that's just not helpful, because it's not. And when we're using emotion to push and move the needle, emotion, like, you can do it, girl. You've got this. This isn't that hard. Yes, I can do this. That kind of emotion is the pusher. And you know what I'm talking about exactly. You know what I'm talking about. So do an assessment and start building your bridge. One brick at a time, one goal at a time. And remember, we have a system for building goals that'll make everything work. Number 3 is, remember, we have to dive for pearls, right? How do you get a pearl in the first place? Well, that oyster starts out with a grain of sand that's irritating, a little discomfort involved there. And then for us who want those pretty pearls, and by the way, Mark gave Leah this gorgeous pearl necklace for when she got married. It was such a tear-jerky moment. I got the whole thing on video. But how beautiful pearls are, how long it takes, the discomfort the oyster goes through, and how we go and get them and they dive for them. Everything is uncomfortable. All of it's uncomfortable. So we also know, too, not only do we have to dive for pearls, but in order to get diamonds, we have to have pressure. So we're talking about precious jewels here, right? And that's who we are. Precious jewels. Precious jewels. So you got to get out there and you got to give it the effort. You got to give it everything that you've got. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And as a matter of fact, it's going to show you what kind of a woman you are. It's going to help you show up for your own life. That's how I look at it. So you got to get off, in order to dive for pearls, you got to get off the beach, right? In order to get a diamond, you got to put the pressure on. Because the diamond's not going to make itself. It's got to get a little pressure to make it. So if we do this, we're going to be creating our lives into precious jewels. Don't you love that? I think that's so wonderful. And I also, number 4, this is a good one. What does comfort say to you? I say it means complacency. Complacency. I think of complacency as not moving, complaining endlessly about your life, just sitting around eating a bunch of crappy food and wondering why nothing has ever changed. And what happens when we do all of this is we end up saying, oh, I'm just getting old. I just need more pills from the doctor. You know how it is. I'm bound and going to get this because this is how old I am. But I'm going to tell you what the truth is, that life changes dramatically when you instead embrace discomfort and make a decision that you're not going to be part of the status quo. Because, the status quo is going to do the very same thing. They're going to get old and they're going to get diseases and they're going to get tired and they're not going to move and all of this. But that isn't what makes for a vibrant life at all. It makes for stagnation. It makes for a different kind of discomfort, and it puts you in a place where you're not going to get the life that you want, because the life that you want is on the other side of discomfort. So, are you ready to get a little uncomfortable? Are you? If you're ready to get uncomfortable, if you're ready to get with the end of the year and get your goals kicked out, we have a 12-week plan. 12 weeks in the Take Back Your Life journal. Those are found at savingdinner.com/journal. However, we have just a few seats left in the Rising Tide. It starts next Tuesday, September 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's called The Rising Tide. It is goal planning for women who are done with just things not working out and have made a decision in their lives that they want to move forward in a big way. I have a system, and I'm going to show you how to use it. We're going to be using this, and we're going to be meeting for 3 consecutive Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can find all those resources at savingdinner.com/rising tide. I'm telling you, I created this simply because for myself, I was just done with not having the life that I wanted. I was done with not meeting my goals. And I bought journal after journal after journal after journal till I had a stack like this. It didn't work. So I created something that works for me, because in 12 weeks, instead of looking at a full year, you can really start seeing the forest through the trees and start getting the life that you want. savingdinner.com/journal and savingdinner.com/rising tide. I think you can buy your journal there too. You have to have your journal to do it. 3 consecutive weeks, and we will meet one-on-one. We'll get down and dirty with your goals and make sure that you have a very clear perspective of what it is that you need to do. I'll tell you what, thanks so much for having me back. It's so good to be home, and I appreciate all of you. Thanks for listening to last week's shows. And if there's anything I can ever do for you, you know how to get a hold of me, right? support@savinggdinner.com. I'm there for you. Peace be with you. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.